The demand for watches is coming back in a strong way, as per US watch manufacturer Timex Group. In an exclusive interaction with CNBC TV18, the company says that the business during the recent festival season has exceeded the company's expectations, and while there is accelerated growth in e-commerce sales, brick-and-mortar sales are expected to go beyond pre-pandemic levels in the coming months. Take a look.
It's my first business trip in a very, very long time. Obviously, I didn't travel much during this pandemic. And clearly, our business was impacted. We were experiencing lockdowns in retail. You know, as a team, we had to manage cash. We had to manage cost in a situation that is really unprecedented and where there was a lot of uncertainty how the market would really develop. I'm very happy to say, though, that consumer demand and our business is coming back in a very strong way, actually exceeding our expectations. And also talking to our retail partners, specifically here in India, I can say that they are and we are very optimistic about the future.
Okay. Recently, we've seen the festival season of Diwali in India. How has the business grown during that time? What is the feedback that you've received?
Yeah, obviously the business over Diwali is a critical part, especially in our category. And we've seen tremendous growth over the previous year. That's natural. But really the benchmark we need to use is 2019, pre-pandemic times. How are we comparing to that? And there we see a lot of growth even versus 19 and previous years on the e-commerce side. On the brick-and-mortar side, we are still slightly below 2019 levels, but in the coming months, I think this is also going to improve, and we will start to see the category evolve beyond pre-pandemic levels.
You talked about adaptability, and you know, while buying a watch, a customer wants to get the feel of the watch and wants to be there in person, but obviously the trends have changed due to this COVID pandemic situation. So what are the changes that your company is thinking of implementing in order to tackle this new customer who is scared of going out and buying and wants to do all the shopping online?
Yeah. We don't really look at it as a fundamental change, but it is true. I think the pandemic brought an acceleration of a channel shift towards e-com, where we see e-com growing faster than other channels and growing in share. However, you said it, there's a lot of consumers out there across all age groups who want to see, touch and feel the product before they make a purchasing decision. That's why we are really looking to grow and develop all of our channels. We still see growth in brick and mortar, in both traditional and modern retail. But of course, we see the acceleration on the e-com side, and we are making critical investments to build out our capabilities on the technology side and really be able to present the product in a very enticing way online as well as in brick and mortar.
Okay. You know, talking about investments, seeing how the COVID situation has changed the business models, etc. You saying that there is still a lot of need for brick and mortar stores. But at the same time, e-commerce is also growing. So how will your investments shape up? And if you could give us a number as to what is the amount that the group is willing to spend over the next, you know, a couple of years, let's say.
Yeah. I cannot give you a specific number, but the investment in the Indian market will increase. The market opportunity we see in India is huge. Watch penetration in India is still estimated to be only at around 35%. Multiple ownership of watches, which is almost standard in other markets, is estimated to be at around 5%. Yeah? And we have a very strong foundation in the market. We've been here since the late 80s, and the awareness of the Timex brand and the appreciation of the Timex brand is huge across so many different consumer segments. So we will be making investments really across the organization. We are building up our team. The biggest single investment will be on the marketing side and specifically there for the Timex brand. But we're also looking to build out our business with fashion brands that we've recently added to our portfolio. And we are also looking to build out even our luxury business.
Over the last 2 years, there has been a lot of focus on smartwatches, fitness bands, and I'm aware that you also have product in that category. But how will that category play its role in your group business?
Yeah. So the core of our business are traditional watches, and that will always stay that way, no question about it. But we also see a big opportunity for us in smartwatches. Specifically, the Timex brand has a long history in technology. Timex launched the first real smartwatch, if you like, in the 80s together with Microsoft. Timex brand is the inventor of the sports watch, and as you know, sports and health features have really become the key application in the smartwatch space. Yeah. So based on that, we've already seen some good success with the smartwatches we launched under the Timex brand, but also under the Helix brand, and we will continue on that path and bring new products to the consumer next year. Recent launches have been very successful. So smartwatches will grow in share, specifically in India, but I think the core of the product will always be traditional watches, where we also see very good growth in the Indian market and across the globe.
Manufacturing industry worldwide has gone through massive disruptions over the last 2 years. Managing supply chains, building resilience, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and growth with a focus on sustainable development have been key focus areas for companies. I caught up with Blake Moret, Chairman and CEO of Rockwell Automation, one of the leading companies focused on industrial automation and digital transformation. I asked him about his global outlook, plans for India, and what India can do to play a bigger role in supply chains. I began by asking him about how the 2 years of the pandemic and the disruptions because of that changed his priorities. Listen in.
Well, our first priority was to keep our people safe. And so we had to reorient our workplaces, including our manufacturing environments, to introduce spacing and cleaning and shift separation to be able to, as much as possible, keep our people out of harm's way. Second, we had to pivot to some of the industries and the customers that were in highest need during the early days of the pandemic. So focusing on packaging food, on the treatments for the coronavirus and later the vaccines, of course. So we really, I think, all found a refocus on the very basic needs of people during those times.
Right. Give us a sense of your global outlook when it comes to business priorities, investment priorities for you worldwide. What would that be? Which will be the key geographies for Rockwell Automation?
Well, general themes are about how can we invest in increasing our own resilience and agility and sustainability, as well as what can we offer our customers to help them do the same. In terms of the geographies, it's really a broad-based approach. We certainly continue to invest to support our existing high-share markets, but it's also introducing new products, new value, and adding additional people in some parts of the world where our share is a little bit lower. So it's a broad-based approach, because for us to grow like we expect to, then it's going to take investments in all regions of the world and in all parts of our portfolio, the products, the software, and the services and solutions, as well as the ecosystem partners in each region, which is a big focus for us as well.
Right. Talking about supply chain disruptions, this has been a priority for you as well over the last 2 years. We've seen countries and companies facing problems because of overexposure to one country or two countries for that matter. We've seen that with the auto industry, and every manufacturing industry has had its share of troubles as a result of that. How are you helping companies manage the supply chain disruption and building resilience for the future?
Well, part of the idea of becoming more resilient is to eliminate single points of failure to the extent possible. And one of the mitigating factors can be to have redundancy in your supply chain in your manufacturing footprint so that you do have multiple sources of the same products and that you can get components from more than one place. So I think that's an important aspect of it as we go forward, looking at enabling those additional manufacturing points. Also, software to be able to help companies manage their supply chain. So supply chain planning software is a new capability that Rockwell has, and combined with flexible manufacturing can help reduce some of the stress on the system that so many of us experienced over the last couple of years.
Right. Blake, if I can also ask you about your outlook for the India market. How do you view India? How important will it be in your global strategy going forward?
So, I think, again, the intention is to more assertively serve parts of the world where our share is a bit lower. India is certainly a big part of that. We're very proud of our existing footprint in India, but we know we can do more. And in the form of acquisitions, in the form of hiring additional people, and we continue to evaluate our manufacturing footprint around the world, and India is certainly an attractive candidate as well.
Right. Any other areas where you would like to invest in India, collaborate as well?
Well, I think continuing to expand our footprint of technical talent in India. India has over 10% of our worldwide employee population, and I expect that to continue to move higher because of the talent.
As someone who is present in different geographies, how do you feel India fares when it comes to ease of manufacturing and ease of business? How does it compare to different geographies, Blake? And what more does India need to do in order to make the business environment more conducive, play that bigger role in global supply chains that it aspires to?
Well, India is very attractive because of the size of the consumer potential. Of course, in India, a trained workforce and the desire to increase its manufacturing economy. So those are all very important factors. You have the will and the skill, if you will, to increase the manufacturing. I think streamlining the red tape, the bureaucracy, to be able to add new capacity is certainly an area that's been identified as a focus, and we very much support that. But I think all the fundamentals are in place, and it's why India is a focus area for Rockwell.
Finally, as we see global tensions between US and China, we see these global wars over trade, discussions on trade taking place between EU and China, every country trying to build supply chain resilience, trying to bring more companies back home to manufacture, reduce exposure to China. What is the opportunity for India?
Well, I think India, again, given a favorable climate towards attracting and sustaining manufacturing, is in a good position to continue to attract manufacturing, and due to the favorable intent, as well as the very large end user market, I think the outlook is good for India to be able to move forward in this area. It's been identified as a central objective, and that's a good starting point.
Right. And if I could ask you one more question, this is about the global shortage of semiconductors. We have been speaking to top CEOs, and they feel that 100% recovery looks very challenging. Do you feel that this is a challenge that we'll have to continue working for the next few years? This challenge is not going to go away immediately.
No, it's not going to go away. New capacity is coming online, but it's extremely difficult to have true, 100% redundancy in your chip supply. So there are things that you can do, a variety of countermeasures that can take place. but it's going to continue to put pressure on global supply chains for the foreseeable future.
Don't lower your guard against COVID. Stay safe. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Star Health Insurance, always at your doorstep.
Have you ever given a thought to how you will clean your clothes without water? How will you wash your dishes, mop your floors, and clean your toilets? We all know that we have sanitation because we have water. So guys, let's get together and uphold this mission to save water so that everyone can adopt better hygiene. Aapik News 18 Mission Pani. Remember, Swachhata aur Pani, aakhir bachani hai zindagani.
Global tech giant IBM spun off its infrastructure services business Kyndryl into an independent entity last week. Kyndryl started trading on the New York Stock Exchange from the 4th of November. I caught up with the India president of Kyndryl, Lingaraju Savkar, and began by asking him what changes for the company both in India and abroad as it charts its independent path. Mr. Savkar, thank you so much for joining us. And Kyndryl has now completely spun off from IBM. You started trading on NYSE from November 4th. My first question is, what changes for you at Kyndryl now that you're an independent company? How is it going to be different both globally and in India?
Firstly, Mugdha, thank you very much for having me here. It's a great time for us at Kyndryl. November the 4th, a very auspicious day for us in India, listing on New York Stock Exchange. And on day one, when we start off as a $19 billion company, presence in 63 countries, 90,000 employees, 4,000 plus clients, and more importantly, I think 75 of the top Fortune 100 companies are on board with us in Kyndryl. So it's a great time as we start off. Now the journey ahead is even more interesting. As we look at the technology landscape and the changes that have happened in the technology landscape and the whole digitization effort that's going on out with clients, it presents a huge opportunity where we see our addressable market almost doubling than what we were in the previous world. So very exciting time, but again, lots of opportunity ahead for
Absolutely.
the industry.
You're starting off on a very strong note, $19 billion of revenue already. You have over 90,000 employees globally, and I understand you have a significant chunk in India, though you're not giving us the number.
Yeah.
But I want to understand, you have several innovation centers in India. What is the kind of R&D being done here, and how are you applying it globally?
So, Mugdha, for us, India is a very important country, and it does it in two areas. One is it's one of the top 10 countries for Kyndryl globally, so it has its own importance as a country market operation. And second is also the fact that a significant of our talent base is based here. So first, let me talk about India as a market opportunity for Kyndryl. As we start off as the leaders in the infrastructure services space. We support, manage, and build mission-critical applications and systems for our clients. So 2 out of every 3 telephone calls are managed by us. 4 out of 5 auto cars on the road are supported by us, essential services, banking transactions. So that puts us in a very strong position, as well as a position of responsibility too, as we manage vital systems of our clients. Now, along with that, India is a great place for talent. From the talent base in India, we do a lot of work for clients globally through our innovation centers and our research centers. So we've got 5 centers across the globe, across the country, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, Delhi, and Chennai. And through these, we run very critical work for our clients and also do research and innovation around our 6 practice areas. So there's a lot of very good cutting edge work going around in the areas of 5G, cloud, digital workplace services, network and edge. And the advantage that we've got is we're able to take in the opportunity from working with very competitive and challenging client situations here and then taking them to the rest of the globe from here. So in a way, India is like a laboratory for us where you test things, harden things across, and if it works in India, it works very well across the globe. So that's what we do.
All right. But you talked about the talent base in India. I do want to ask you about the talent war that's happening, especially with tech talent. There are startups who are attracting talent, giving out BMWs, 3-day work weeks, etc. What are you doing to attract the best talent right now in India?
I think you couldn't have used a better word than the war out there on talent. I think the way we lay out to the talent across and our proposition to talent we're trying to attract and the talent was on board is very simple, three things. First thing is we come with a history of a 100-year-old company, the wisdom of a 100-year-old company, but as a large $19 billion startup. So with the background of a large company, but the flexibility, speed, agility, and excitement of working in a startup. That's our number one value proposition. The second one is by virtue of being working with clients across, I spoke to you about the top Fortune 500 companies and different industries, exposure to working with clients in different industries, different technologies, and the opportunity to learn so much is a very high learning quotient. Okay. And third thing is, as I said, we have a large talent base here. The peer group that you work with, master inventors, scientists, and the whole PhD crowd that we've got is a great motivation factor for tech talent to come on board.
So it's the best environment that you're offering for the tech talent.
Absolutely. That's where we look at it as a value proposition.
Absolutely. And one interesting thing I want to talk to you about is Kyndryl's agreement with the Bangalore International Airport to build something called an airport in a box. Now, it sounds like a very interesting concept. Could you just break it down for us to understand what this will entail?
Okay, Bangalore International Airport was one of the first contracts that we signed as we became Kyndryl. So together, IBM, Kyndryl, and Bangalore International Airport signed a 10-year long-term contract to build, manage their technology systems. I think you would know by now, you're in Bangalore, so you cut across the airport. It's one of the most innovative airports in the way they've transformed across. And our partnership with Bangalore International Airport is to make them a truly cognitive and digital airport. So what we're doing together is building a platform which is flexible and agile, which is able to bring in all the subsystems together on one platform. And you know, airport is a very complex environment. It brings in different stakeholders inside. It's like a hotel experience, it's a passenger experience, it's a hospitality experience, and at the end of the day, complex systems that need to work together. Right. So we are together building a platform of technology which allows newer environments to come in, and once we build that together, it's a co-development platform. We're able to go and take it to other airports and offer it as a value.
So that's going to be the next step. You're going to go to other airports in the country as well.
Right, to the country, across the globe, working with the Bangalore International Airport as a joint go-to-market initiative is what we have in plans as phase 2 and phase 3. So we're truly excited with this partnership with Bangalore International Airport.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Savkar. Thank you so much for joining us.